Recently, we've discovered the truth around motivation. A way to stay motivated all day, every day. Well, maybe not that far, but we have begun to develop a general theory of motivation. A traditional definition of motivation looks something like this: some internal process that directs your behavior. In Roy F. Boymeister's paper, which will be looked at in great detail today, has a different, much simpler definition for motivation. Motivation is wanting. You might think that's quite broad, and that's because it is. I don't want to spoil the video for you, but there's a reason for such a broad definition that fundamentally explains what and why motivation is so important. Before we get into all that, let's look at the types of motivation he has proposed. So, what are the two types of motivation? Well, the first one is drive. Drive consists of all your biological motivations, such as eating, drinking, safety, and you know what else. All animals are driven to obtain these basic needs. As humans, our conscious mind gives us the ability to think and imagine. These abilities lead to more complex desires, like the need for respect, ambition, understanding, and many more. What you need to remember about drive is the following. Drive consists of continuous motivation, but not constant. Think of hunger, for example. Most people get hungry before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. However, after you have a meal, you aren't hungry anymore. When you satisfy your need for food, that doesn't mean it won't come back. No matter what you do, these basic needs will never go away until the day you die. Hence, continuous. The next type of motivation is impulse, which is defined as an instantaneous need for something specific, aka the here and now type of motivation. Personally, I like to think of this type as a rush of motivation. Let's set up a scenario that we will refer back to for the remainder of this video. Say you're walking down the boardwalk after having dinner, hungry after having your meal, but you pass by an ice cream shop. All of a sudden, you forget you just ate dinner, and you have an instant craving for ice cream. Now, let's dig in to understand what this example tells us. First, your impulses are controlled by the situation, in this case the boardwalk. Second, there is something that cues the impulse, in this case the ice cream shop. However, the visual cue of the ice cream shop isn't always necessary. Say you're playing basketball with your friend on a hot summer day. After playing for probably 30-40 minutes, you sit back and you take a break. It's quite plausible that without any visual cue for ice cream, the impulse for a nice refreshing cone will pop up into your mind. It's worth mentioning that impulses aren't always for food. You might drive by the golf course and have the impulse to go play around. It can be anything you like to do. So remember, impulses aren't continuous or constant. They are instantaneous and unexpected. Even though there are two distinct types of motivation, they are very closely related to each other. We can observe their relationship through our ice cream example. If you've just come from a buffet where you've eaten way too much food, even if you love ice cream, passing by the shop might not give you the impulse for it. We can take this another step further. Say you wake up and lose your motivation for hunger entirely. No matter how much you used to like ice cream, without the drive for food, you'll never have the impulse for ice cream. This is because impulses derive from drive. It's kind of like all fingers are thumbs, but not all thumbs are fingers. You can have a drive for food without having impulses for ice cream. As previously mentioned, there are basic motivators and complex motivators. While there are only a few basic motivators, there are tens, if not hundreds, of complex motivators. The list includes cars, clothes, drugs, compliments, respect, money, fame, and that's just to name a few. Now, how do you explain the transition from a list of 4 or 5 basic motivators to a list of numerous complex motivators? Well, my interpretation of Dr. Boymeister's paper is that complex motivators have evolved in a way that goes past the need for survival. Once we break the link between motivation and survival, the possible motivators are unlimited. Now, saying unlimited might seem like a bit of a stretch, but let me explain. There's certain motivators that have been around for a long time, like the need for power, money, fame. The same basic motivators have evolved into complex motivators. Complex motivators have mutated into different forms. For centuries, people have been motivated by money. It started with raw value. then silver and gold. Then we transitioned to coins and cash, then debit and credit cards, and now we have cryptocurrency. We can make the same parallel with fame. We've gone from warriors and political figures to actors to TikTokers. As technology evolves, so do the things that motivate us. To learn more about motivation and how to apply its principles, click the first link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.